Senior meteorologist Janice Dean is live in the Fox Extreme Weather Center. Boy, the Caribbean has just been getting hammered. Here's storm number 4 in just weeks.
Yeah, and the fact that we're dealing with another Category 5 in just a matter of weeks. We haven't seen 2 Category 5s in a row since 2007, and this one is on a beeline to perhaps devastate Puerto Rico and, again, parts of the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, which were devastated by Irma. So there's no good news out of this, and the National Hurricane Center has just issued their latest bulletin. It is still a Category 5, still 160-mile-per-hour sustained winds as it barrels towards Puerto Rico. I am so concerned about this area because they could potentially see the worst core of winds, as well as 9 to 11-foot storm surge, upwards of 2 feet of rainfall, and just battering winds for a number of hours. And you can already see the wind gusts. You can see that well-defined eye right there, already getting the outer bands of the rain and the winds moving towards the islands, the Virgin Islands, and then into Puerto Rico. Hurricane warning in effect. Prayers are needed for this area. Perhaps the worst hurricane they've ever experienced is potentially on their doorstep. And then as we go further out in time, it will weaken a little bit. We think it's going to go through some structural changes, but it's still going to be potentially catastrophic. That's the language that the National Hurricane Center is using. Catastrophic, life-threatening. This potentially could devastate these areas. And then we're going to watch it move perhaps east of the Bahamas. Turks and Caicos is going to watch for a Category 4 as well as we get into the weekend. And then the East Coast, you cannot rule out potential impacts next week. But the rainfall, as I mentioned, could be devastating, upwards of 2 feet of rainfall across the islands and then Puerto Rico. And look at these wind gusts. I mean, 106 miles per hour, 117 miles per hour. These areas were devastated by Irma. So another hit. San Juan, populated area, obviously, in Puerto Rico, 121 miles per hour is just going to potentially devastate, and even higher than that, 130 mile per hour gusts. Now, looking at the computer models as we go further out in time, the U.S., obviously, the East Coast is wondering if we're going to feel the effects of Maria. There is the potential, yes, as we get into Wednesday and Thursday, it comes close, and whether or not that Bermuda high builds in, will that push these storms closer to the East Coast? It's still not out of the question. That's why we're going to be watching Maria. Real quick, just want to touch on Hurricane Jose, still off the coast of the Northeast, bringing high waves and some rough surf and rip currents, so people need to be on alert for there. We could get some nor'easter-type winds tomorrow and through Wednesday and Thursday, so watching Hurricane Jose. But, Julie, I mean, Maria is just a disaster waiting to happen for the islands, the Lesser Antilles, and Puerto Rico tonight. Back to you.
Okay, we're going to be keeping a close eye on it, of course. Janice, thank you.
Yeah.